Welcome to Happy Death Day. All right, let's set the scene. It's the late 1800s. No Wi-Fi, no streaming, no link in bio. If you wanted to go viral, you had to write something so fire people copied it by hand. And in the middle of Central America, a skinny kid with big eyes and an even bigger imagination was about to change the Spanish language forever. His name? Rubén Darío. Yeah, poet, but not the boring, dusty classroom type. This man was a rock star in a suit, a romantic genius, and low-key, kinda self-destructive. Today we're talking about the life and the dramatic fall of the dude who basically said, "You know what Spanish needs? More flavor, more rhythm, more vibes." And then he actually did it. Rubén Darío was born in 1867 in Nicaragua. And listen, his childhood? Not exactly Disney. His parents' relationship was messier than a group chat after midnight. They split early, so little Ruben got passed around relatives like a family casserole dish. But here's the twist. While other kids were outside throwing rocks at chickens or whatever 1870s kids did, Ruben was inside writing poetry. And not little nursery rhymes either. Nah. At like 12 years old, this man was writing verses so deep, grown adults were like, "Why is this child emotionally exhausted already?" They called him the boy poet, which sounds cute until you realize that means he peaked before puberty. Fast forward a bit. Ruben starts traveling. El Salvador, Chile, Argentina, Spain. Bro had more stamps on his passport than your friend who won't stop saying, "When I was in Europe." But here's why it mattered. Spanish poetry at the time, kind of stiff, old school, buttoned up, felt like it needed permission to breathe. Ruben kicked the door open. He helped launch a whole movement called Modernismo, which basically meant more musical language, more exotic imagery, more emotion, less, "Dear sir, respectfully, I suffer." This man brought swans, princesses, dreams, mythology, vibes. He made poetry feel like a movie soundtrack, not a lecture. And suddenly, writers across Latin America were like, "Wait, we can do that with Spanish?" Yeah, you can. Thank Ruben. Now, here's where the story turns from literary genius to, "Brother, you need water and a therapist." Ruben became famous, like international famous. He worked as a journalist, diplomat, cultural figure. He met presidents, he met artists, he hung out with elites. But he also drank a lot, fell in and out of love, struggled with money, and battled depression and anxiety. Basically, he lived like a touring musician before musicians even toured. He'd write these gorgeous, dreamy poems about beauty and eternity, then turn around and make life decisions that screamed, "I do not have my life together." Classic tortured artist behavior. Rubén Darío and relationships? Messy, complicated, emotional damage DLC. He had multiple major relationships, marriages, separations, the whole romantic roller coaster. He was the type to write you a poem so beautiful you'd cry and then disappear emotionally for 6 months. Bro loved love, but also loved drama and alcohol, which is not a stable combination. As time goes on, the lifestyle catches up. The fame, the pressure, the expectations, the constant travel, the emotional intensity. and Ruben starts drinking heavier. We're not glamorizing it, but historically, alcohol became his coping mechanism. And slowly, the poetic genius who gave Spanish a whole new rhythm was fighting battles inside his own body. Liver problems, health issues, mental strain. The same passion that made his writing powerful also made his personal life hit like a tragic playlist at 2 a.m. By the early 1900s, Rubén Darío wasn't just a writer anymore. He was the writer, the face of modern Spanish literature, the voice of a generation, the cultural icon. And that's heavy. Imagine being expected to be deep, brilliant, poetic, and meaningful every time you open your mouth. Meanwhile, you just want a nap and maybe some soup. Fame hits different when you're sensitive and artistic. It doesn't just inflate your ego, it crushes your nervous system. By 1916, Rubén Darío's health was in serious decline. Years of stress, travel, emotional turmoil, and heavy drinking had done damage. He returned to Nicaragua, not as the globe-trotting literary superstar, but as a tired man whose body was waving the white flag. On February 6, 1916, Rubén Darío died at just 49 years old. 49. That's younger than some of y'all's uncles who still say, "Back in my day," like they stormed a castle. The world lost a revolutionary voice. Latin America lost a cultural giant. Spanish literature lost its greatest vibe architect. But here's the twist. Rubén Darío didn't just write poems. He reshaped a language. Every modern Spanish language poet after him influenced. Every writer who got a little more musical, a little more dreamy, a little more daring. That's Darío's fingerprint. He proved Spanish could be musical, mystical, emotional, global. He made poetry feel modern. So yeah, his life was chaotic. Yeah, he struggled. But his words, still alive, still studied, still admired. That's legacy. Rubén Darío was proof that brilliance and brokenness sometimes share the same apartment. He chased beauty like it owed him money. He gave Spanish poetry a glow-up nobody saw coming. And he lived fast enough to burn out before 50. Not every legend dies in battle. Some die after fighting themselves for years. But if words are immortality, Rubén Darío is still breathing. And that was the man who gave the Spanish language rhythm, soul, and a whole new level of style. A poetic rock star. A beautiful mind with heavy demons. A genius who changed literature while quietly battling himself. Rubén Darío died on February 6, 1916. But legends like him don't really die. They echo through every word that comes after them. Happy Death Day, Rubén Darío. Subscribe for tomorrow's Death Day. And remember, death is guaranteed. History is optional.